good morning, and welcome to your favorite morning talk show on air right now, Argue with Your Ancestors. It's always bold, courageous, fearless, and honest on Jasiri. I'm Tolu, and you'd be pleased to know that there are possibly no gloves on this side of the table today.
Tolu, speak for yourself, because the gloves are on my side.
What is going on?
How does Blessings get caught in the middle?
I don't
know. Blessings, it's as if she's always anticipating something. Me, I'm just saying, my gloves are here and I'm ready for anything.
I felt like yesterday
I'm not, that when I say...
No, it's PTSD. Because yesterday I was so scared that, you know, Lola she's been after my life, so every...
Wosa.
Lola, what's the problem?
Everything about me speaks peace and gentility. Everything about me speaks calmness. Oh, yeah.
We're waiting for the switch.
I wanted to see the
Yala Yawon. If that Martin low derogatory budget, it's just daytime. But I have to comport myself and be...
The gloves are here this time around.
Yes, so, the gloves.
I mean, Lola was given yesterday.
Lola was
loloing. Because she was repping. She was giving.
I would like her to stand up today, but I don't think she'll
Honestly, I'm even more Gen Z than the Gen Z herself.
Can you stand up?
Anyway, it's your girl, Lola.
Hey.
I am the cutest in the house.
Should I move this for you?
The funniest, the bravest of them all. And I'm always keeping it real. Speaking of brave, Catherine, are you Catherine? Are you brave? Because your phone was blown up. Because mine is about to become an explosive device from the comments from yesterday after the show. But me, I have a habit. When we go viral like that, I just ignore the comments. I let it fall so that my engagement can hope.
But that's what Jasiri is about. I mean, and like Tolu said it, we're bold, we're courageous, we're honest. And this is where we have uncomfortable conversations.
Yep.
Yes.
I went through a very public and a messy divorce. I've earned the right to speak my mind without apology. Without anyone's permission.
That's your trend,
guys.
If
My
we're talking
energy
about
is love and light. But if something is wrong, then don't sugarcoat it.
You didn't get that thing. You should purr.
Like, you know, like
purr.
So look, let's move on.
I won't lie. The picture was given. So when you want something to trend, please use a nice picture.
Use a nice picture.
No, the two of you were looking fine. I can't even lie about that. You're looking very fine. If we're gonna go viral, let's represent.
Let the beauty speak. Let the beauty speak.
Can you see these people are not saying it? But I'm definitely here for it. One thing we'll promise you is that we will have those conversations. You're not always going to agree with us, and we don't need you to always agree with us.
Yes.
Don't really
But
can't.
we're going to have those conversations. And one thing for me is Nigerians just need to learn how to disagree without being insulting. You don't have to like what is said or how it's being said. Listen to the message, take whatever you want from it and leave it. But if you missed all the noise, you don't know what we're talking about, you missed yesterday. So please, if you want to know why Jasiri and my very dear Catherine are trending, head to our YouTube channel for the comment that has started a social media war.
A full-blown war.
We are at News Central TV, and the hashtag is Jasiri. You guys, you know, I was complaining. I wanted to turn off my notifications after the first. I was like, I can't do this.
I did. I turned mine off.
I don't know. Is this how these things are? I can imagine why it's addictive.
My father called me last night I had slept.
The same father you talked about?
Yes, he called you. Said, how are you? Are you okay?
A lot of
these things. How do you? I laughed and I told him, I said, I slept yesterday, but don't worry, I'm fine. He doesn't need to be worried. I told him, don't worry, I'm good. He said, are you sure? I said, I'm very sure.
A lot of people just take things out of context. It's
like,
still something
away from
that amazes me as a person, because if you wanted to get the full text of something, then you watch the entire. She never said her dad gave her an erection. Any man that wakes up in the morning that is a normal, healthy, viral man, there would be that in the morning. And she said, oh, when she hugged, she felt that, and she just said that, I'm no longer a baby without hugging daddy, you know, in that.
Exactly.
You went to night school. The school you went to is night school.
The funny
Even
thing
my
is,
other sister called me.
Flesh and blood is not
Did you used to sit on that? I said,
Yeah, that's true.
Very quick.
You know, yeah, when she said that, you know, our dad used to let them blow bubbles.
Bubbles on his belly. My dad was very fair.
Took it.
My dad was very fair and he had a rotund belly. So that thing used to do. Oh God.
Anyways, all right, ladies, let's leave the trend for the Twitter warriors.
Yeah.
They're doing a good job for us, so keep it up. We're liking it. Anyways, moving on. There was this post that caught my eye yesterday, and I don't even know what to think. You know, they say beggars are not choosers. Beggars do not really have choice. Well, this Muslim cleric who goes by Alpha Chemistry on Instagram has an alternative view to that. So he's saying beggars have choosers. In the clip, he was saying how Nigerians should stop giving beggars 10 naira, 50 naira, or even 100 naira notes. If you have up to 1 million that you are not using again in your account, you should be able to at least, you know, even give them the whole 1 million. But what he said was 1,000, a whole 1,000 in this economy. And, you know, the effrontery to dictate how we should spend our money in this economy, I repeat, where things are now so expensive. But anyways, let's take a look at the clip.
Giving beggars small money. Stop giving beggars 10 naira, 20 naira, 50 naira, 100 naira. Stop giving beggars money. Like, I don't understand. Why is it that when it is time to give beggars money, it is 10 naira you'll be able to pull out from your pocket? It is 50 naira, it is 100 naira, or one dirty money you've kept so long in your pocket or your wallet. Like, what's our mindset, most especially Nigerians? I don't understand our mindset. When you're giving beggars money, you give them dirty money. You're giving them small money. You have 1 million in your account, you're giving beggars 10 naira, 15 naira. You have 100,000 naira in your account, you cannot give out 1,000 naira.
My brother, why is he peppering you like that? Are you the...
He's so
It's just trying to say that the economy is bad. So even honestly, let's be understanding. If you give a beggar 10 naira or 15 naira, you know now, Association of Pure Water Sellers has said that they are going to move pure water to 100 naira.
For one sachet.
For one sachet.
Honesty.
So a beggar, if you give him 10 naira, when would he ever drink
What does
water?
he go?
In all honesty, that 10 naira, he can have 30 of it. That 50 naira, he can have 100 of it. It doesn't change. They will sit down. Do you know how much these beggars make at the end of the day?
Some of them.
Yeah.
Yes, not all of them.
I don't even blame. Look, you're talking about you want to give beggars money. You don't give them 10 naira. I don't give beggars money. Bite me. I don't give them money. If you want me to give you money, sell something I will buy. I won't give you money.
Like
so
me. I agree with you.
1,000. I know they give money.
Yes, I give money selectively. Depends on how
The
my
spirit
is
leads.
moving.
Yes.
But me, I'm into the habit of buying food and gifting those children. Because I know that if I give them food, I'm very sure they would eat it. So sometimes in my bag, you see biscuits, you see
Some
drinks.
people don't even give money because, you know, we are very spiritual in this country. Take it to
It's not
that
just
side.
in this
So
country.
that side-
I've had personal experiences. That's why I don't give beggars money.
Jesus.
Somebody has, I was in my, I think GSS 3.
Yes.
Then I used, Auntie Generous. Oh my God, Mother Christmas.
Generous.
Like I could literally give out my feeding money, how much? 30 naira. So that day I was going to school and this guy's situation, because I can be very empathetic, you know, I saw this, no, it was a lady actually, you know, she was sitting down with her child and then she was begging and I gave her the entire money that was in my hand. And in my mind, I'm like, Mrs., what is wrong with you? So I just kept going. The next day, someone tapped me, you know, on my feet. And I was like, take your money, I don't want. I'm telling you. And she said something in Yoruba, Makubami. I had goosebumps, I'm not even joking. And then because I attended a Catholic school then, and I went to my reverend sister, I was quite close with her, our principal, and I was like, see what happened this morning? She was like, yes, it had happened to her before that.
Your
They couldn't.
No, it's her
rejecting.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes, your name, your head is catching.
Since that time, if you like, be crying.
I'm not gonna give you a
Sell
dime.
pure water. Even if I don't need what you're selling, I would buy. That's what I do. Like I see old women selling Ghana must go.
Like trinkets and things.
I will buy everything.
Yeah.
But say I will give you money. That 5 naira you're saying I should not give, I don't give it.
And I also think we need to realize the knockdown effects. We're in Lagos. We've seen the growth of the begging economy. Begging economy, begging industry, whatever you want.
They have
And
to have
also,
association.
it started with begging, but what you see now is more street children. I remember I was in VI sometime recently. Almost every major junction in VI has them. And we're not talking children anymore. We're talking young men. We're talking teenage boys who at some point in time even become threatening.
Yes.
And you know, it used to be a situation they would stand away from you, auntie, please give. Now they're at your window,
exactly.
and you
if
feel
you
like
don't give, they're
looking into
hitting
your
your
car.
window.
We can't just talk
But
about.
you know, I'm even very happy that the Niger population has reduced.
Yeah, actually.
Because then, you know, in the late, let's say late 2000s, it was an infestation. Honestly, you want to give them one. I tried to give money once. He just picked off the, maybe, and it's a long time ago, so it couldn't have been, maybe like 200 naira and ran off while I was trying to buy water or something. I was going to give him the change.
The change from
he just picked it off my hand and ran off, raining, cursing, and abuses and everything.
How? On somebody who's working hard for their money versus you that you're on the street.
You know, and honestly, as long as we keep encouraging this thing, now we're finding more children on the street, children that should be in school. Sometimes you see the children's faces. When I saw this boy, probably had jaundice. He was in the sun. His eyes were yellow. I didn't even know what to do to help. And now because people are, you know, kind towards children, now they bring them all out.
Yes, to say, okay, since it's you, people
they want to give.
But even that children one, I can never forget the story that broke a few years ago. The lady that was saying that her brother went missing for I think over 5 or 7 years, and she went to a Holy Ghost service, and she found her brother. But where was her brother? Her brother had been kidnapped by those who use children to beg. Wow. He talked about the fact that he couldn't remember anything. Somehow they were both at the same service. That is how her family found this boy after 5 or more years. I'll find the article and send it to you guys. I can never, even if I'm talking about that story, I'm getting goosebumps. I can never forget. We see twins. Are they your twins? People are buying babies, they're stealing babies, or they're borrowing babies so that they used to beg. Whereas that young, come on, what are we talking about?
Reminds me of another story around Maryland. Yeah. There's this particular woman. She said every time she's going to work, she would see this beggar with a child. That her spirit would just, you know, when you just have goosebumps. But she would go to work. He said this day, she was just moved and she packed to just gift them something. She looked at the child. It was her son. She said that boy, every day he comes home, she was always medicating him because he's always feverish and hot. They go to the crèche. The crèche around her house, I can't remember exactly, maybe around K2 or Alakpere, I don't know, just somewhere. And the woman will rent the child out. So every day that boy comes home, she said she will visit the hospital because he's always feverish. She said she almost died in that woman's arms.
It is a conversation that we need to pick up. Because I'm sure a lot of you out there are not aware of this. I'm hearing it for the first time that my child I take to creche is on the streets. They went to borrow him, to rent him.
They paid them.
I don't get it. But we're going to go for a quick break now, a timeout. When we return, I'm very excited about this next conversation because of who will be joining us to discuss, who will be joining us to discuss what it means to put yourself first and how to prioritize your well-being. You might think it's a lot of English, but there is indeed something to gain from this. So stick around because you don't want to miss this. We'll be back.
Welcome back to Jasiri. Remember, we're live on all social media platforms. So if you're on the move and you cannot watch us on DSTV 422 or Star Times 274, you can still be part of the conversation on X, Facebook, Instagram. Just make sure you're using the hashtag Jasiri so that we know that you're watching.
And in a world that constantly demands our attention, it's easy to forget about ourselves. But today, we're flipping the script and diving deep into the importance of self-care, exploring what it means to prioritize our own needs and discussing practical strategies for nurturing our physical, mental, and emotional health. Joining us for the second time on Jasiri is transformational therapist and clinical hypnotherapist, Adeola Kingsley-James. It's good to have you back, Adeola.
It's good to be here.
Looking
You're
fly.
like my sister.
Family member. So fly.
Don't say that again because Lola will be angry at us.
Sorry.
Honestly, I can share.
All right.
But
If you say so.
off camera, I hardly call Adeola to talk because sometimes I just want to keep my friends where I want them to be.
As friends.
I don't ever want to get into the space that she's no longer someone I like to do like this. So. If I ever see her
these glasses, I'm not sure you'll leave this set with these glasses.
That means many people have eyes for it.
Yeah.
Well, glasses are glasses.
It's glasses.
But Adeola, what is it? Why are you the only one glowing in this economy? What's the secret? You know, some people will say skincare routine is not working in this economy. I won't mention some names. Some people actually spend a lot of money. They are their hand money. You know,
why is your
doing
hand going to
skincare?
the right?
But it's not like we don't see results. You can't compare the glow to the glow. What is wrong? I'm just
Shade and the glow.
I'm
My girl when you
I love it.
My girl when you
Why don't you tell
It's
me?
innocence.
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 Is what?
No, even me, I'm respecting myself.
But really, we like to ask guests when they come, how are you really?
Oh, I honestly tell people that most times I'm doing very well.
Okay.
Most times.
Even in this economy.
Because I don't see the economy, I create mine.
Oh,
You know?
You see why we are always, it's almost as if when Adeola comes here, she waves the kind of wand, and we just become like very...
she's like a fairy godmother.
I swear.
Adeola would come, she came into the makeup room and she would make you introspect where you don't want to go.
And I won't lie, there's something about her that makes you confess.
Yes.
You will just
She's a
start
man
confessing.
of
Like she didn't ask you. I said something in the makeup room. I'm like, who asked you this one? Why were you saying that?
Honestly, that hypnotherapist part of your
I
profession,
think-
is it not somehow bleeding through?
I think so. And maybe because the identity that I tell people that I have is I'm air. I give people a reason to live, love, and breathe. I'm light. I bring clarity and understanding. I'm unconditional love. I love because it's who I am. And I'm an example on earth that God exists. So because I say that about myself, I've become that person.
Yeah.
So when people see me, I hear things like, there's just something about you.
An aura.
Some people say your aura. Some people say your chi. Some people say the way you speak. Because also I speak from within and I say the things that I genuinely mean all the time. And I ask people interested questions. So that's why you would say certain things to me that you normally won't say because you see that I have a particular interest in you. And if I have it in you, I have it in you.
I don't lose. It's okay. Don't look at me again. Don't look at me.
I wonder why, sometimes I'm wondering how booked Adeola is, because you'd have to know her to know that she's someone you need. And you are budgeting for skincare.
No,
budget
you see, for me, for
therapy.
Adeola, if I wanted to budget her or have her, I just say, I want to book a session.
And just be
Just talk
listening.
to me. I will sleep. Just be talking while I'm
The
sleeping.
issues will run. Okay, let's focus on this. Because as you can see, you are epitomizing what it means to have self-care, to prioritize your needs.
Yes.
And that's where we're taking the conversation to, because it's a wise man, probably a woman, we never know in this day and age, who actually said that if the purpose of a thing is not known, the abuse is inevitable. So why self-care? Because we go, we're like the Energizer Bunny from a commercial. Just keep going and going and going, never pausing, never stopping to think about ourselves. So is it just about having a bath and going to bed, occasionally buying things or running up all your bills because you're buying clothes or groceries? What is self-care?
So first of all, I think that there's been this thing that has been taught us that we're human doings. We've forgotten how to be human beings. And we're first human beings. And so self-care starts from there. It starts from the fact that you see yourself as a being, which means be. Just be. Stillness. You know, exactly. See how you said that?
Lola, can you be still?
Why do you need it? So that, for me, that's the first thing self-care is for me. I can sit down in a place for 2 hours and just be still. And I'm meditating for 2 hours.
No. You see?
I
when you
kid
say
you not.
Still,
Yes.
please.
Still is doing nothing. Nothing.
Where do we go with
Nothing.
our minds when we...
Anywhere, but hopefully in a place where it's positive and you are seeing the things that you choose to want to have in your life, right? So I do this exercise with people and I say to them, tell me what, if for the next, I'm going to go through this exercise with you, and this is 1 year from now, and all the phenomenal things that have happened to you, tell me who that person is from that point of view. A lot of people don't know. They don't know. Because we're following the hustle and the bustle. The hustle and the bustle, we're on the news, we're everywhere in other people's businesses, and no time for our business. And our business is us, how we feel. People know love languages. Do people know their stress languages, for example? Do people know how they respond? Yes. Do people know how they respond when they're under pressure? Do people know why they respond that way whilst they're under pressure. Some people are flighting, some people are fighting, some people are freezing, some people are docile, some people are fixers. But there's a reason why also underneath it. So there's a lot of work, which is what everybody runs away from, putting yourself first. When you spend time with yourself, you know yourself more. People don't like spending time with themselves. They will rather be in the midst of other people. Now, if you don't like your company, why should anybody else like your company? So self-care for me is me, first of all, accepting myself to say, okay, this is who I am in different ways. And by the way, I don't do anything to my skin. God blessed me with beautiful skin. I do nothing at all. I sleep with makeup on. Nothing. I don't break out, nothing. I have beautiful skin. But I also always say that I have excellent skin. So my skin must obey to what I say it must do for me. Must. So it's a must.
That's how Miss Adeola Kingsley-James destroyed my business strategy. I'm still hurting from that. I was just about to start selling Ori. Adeola Ori. This is what she rubs that gives her this glowing skin. But now,
nothing.
So you're talking about basically, Christians would say, speaking life into something, speaking things as if they were. And in this world of craziness, we're battling, because you're talking about being still for 2 hours. Okay, I can try 30 minutes. That 2 hours, I said all of our notifications yesterday were destroyed.
You will grow into it. You start 5 minutes.
Okay.
Start small. It's not something you're used to. I didn't start with 2 hours overnight. I started small because your mind, the job of your mind is to wander.
Yeah.
But you then bring it back and say, no, we're still. We're here. I'm not thinking about what's happening with my children because they're fine. I'm not thinking about whether the economy is going up and down. I create my economy. What I'm looking for is looking for me. So I'm not worried. I worry about nothing. Nothing. No one. So when you have that state of being or state of mind, then you're going to have peace. When people say, oh, Nigeria, I'm like, I don't know what you guys are. And at home, they know me. If they say, oh, this thing, we bought it 4,000 naira, now it's 8,000 naira, my answer is standard. We'll be able to afford it regardless of how much it is. So I'm not worried. I'm not thinking about Nigeria. I'm thinking about how to increase my capacity to go beyond it. So I'm not worried about what's going on. I'm internalizing and saying, okay, so what bright ideas can I come up with that put me in a place where I'm able to function over and above everything that is happening here or anywhere in the world? That's my self-care. That's my self-care.
You know, a lot of people that we're all sitting on this table and we're in awe. Some people will just say that these are just things that you think about.
No, I think they'll say more, these are things you can think about when you have food on the table, when you have a roof over your head, where it seems to be you're very okay.
You're very okay, because a lot of people will say you're not realistic. Many people in Nigeria, the word they will use is you are not.
you are in
a state of denial.
What's the one that was trying? You're talking in the nonsense.
You're just
Gen Z brought us up to date.
They just cannot relate. Because especially for us women, we naturally are multitaskers by nature. So that means our lives, if I'm permitted to use the word, internally chaotic.
Absolutely.
So how do we?
You can't even find the word.
So before she goes, I want to list the internal chaos.
Yes.
Your spouse, if you have one, or partner, your
work,
job. And this is not in order of preference or anything. So your spouse or partner, your job, your children, your in-laws, your parents, your siblings, your friends, your colleagues. Everybody says you need to do a side hustle. You're doing side hustle. You're carrying emotional labor. There's just, your body is bodying. As you grow older, there's menopause, there's periods to deal with, there's pregnancy.
More. I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a stepmother, I have in-laws, then I also have outlaws. So add a little bit more to that list. I've got all those things going, and don't get me wrong. So yes, I sound a bit out of a bubble. I had to teach myself to get to this place. I wasn't also like this a couple of years ago. I was also about everything happening outside me. But I learned that the power of stillness, oh my goodness. Because they've taught us move. But action and progress are not synonymous.
But how do we do that? Sorry to interrupt, but how do we do that?
So let me tell you how I start my day. Okay? So once again, I'm a mother. I'm everything. I work full time, and I also have a full-time business of my own, which is what So I have all those things going for me also, but I still have a lot of peace. So when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do, I don't go in to start looking at all the messages and looking for people looking for me, because I'm not interested in what's happening in the outside world. I'm only interested in how to set my day and my intentions for the day. So I spend at least the first 2 hours by myself. Either I'm working out, or meditating, I'm doing my visualizations, whatever I need to do to center me first. Because that's where the power is. When you are in a hurry, you are angry. When people try to stop you, you find that every time you have lashed out, it's because of some kind of anger, or you're in a hurry to do something. When you find yourself making better decisions, better informed decisions, you're almost in a state of calm. So why don't you want to be in a state of calm to make more better decisions for yourself and all the people around you?
Okay, so there's the part of which I now completely understand, finding a way to maybe meditate, put yourself in that state of calmness in the midst of all of this. She said something about not feeling guilty, and then it has to do with training your mind. But I think my own challenge is, how do you get yourself into a continuous state of peace? There's a book I'm reading currently, The Subtle Art of Something. And, So I'm not giving it something. And, there's a part of it that says, a lot of times we're worried about not meeting deadlines. And then you're like, oh my God, why am I worrying about not meeting that? And you're worrying about,
Yes.
and then it's just a whole messed up situation.
But
So
how do you feel after worrying?
disoriented.
Exactly.
So the thing is, how do you now train your mind to a point where, because it's one thing to keep myself, locked in for 2 hours and just meditate. And then I come out and the mechanic is like, your car is bad. And you're like, oh boy. Yeah. Then you get to work and they're like, you have a deadline, and you're trying so hard
To hold on
to
to
keep
it.
that calm, but it's just now flying all over. It's like you just went on a 2-hour hiatus and came back to the real world.
Okay. So first of all, trying is the senior brother of failure. That's why you fail.
Yeah.
Yes.
Blessings,
'Cause-
Pele. Blessings, Pele.
I even did tea at home.
You have tea, coffee. You can't try to do anything. It's either you're doing it or you're not. Trying doesn't. If I say try and stand up, oh yeah, try and stand up. Try. I didn't say stand. I didn't say not. Trying is the same, and we're so used to trying. That's why we don't do anything. Right? So once again, I'm the way I am because I've trained myself to get to this point. Okay? Because I asked myself, do I like chaos or do I like peace? I think I like peace better.
But so
I
many
like peace, the
Nigerians
way
like
peace,
chaos.
because we grew up in chaos.
We're traumatized
With
people.
noise.
Yeah.
We grew up in face me, I face you. If you're not somebody, is not slapping you. We grew up with believing that I better pass my neighbor, so competition. We grew up as children always wanting to be the best and the first. If not, you are the father's child. If you are a good one, then you are the mother. We grew up thinking that chaos was what meant life. But now I've come to understand that it doesn't. I'd rather be in a place of peace. And do you know how many ideas you can get from a place of stillness? If you're in the marketplace and everybody is shouting, even if they're calling your name, you can't hear it. But you can only hear when you're peaceful. And so the things that have happened for me, and I've judged them. Okay, so what are the things that happen when I'm in this place of, yes. So I'm not saying stay in a place of meditation for 2 hours. I can, or because I have taught myself to. And what's important for you, you'll find time for. People spend, I listened to some data that they say Nigerians spend almost averagely 3 hours, 20 minutes on the internet every day. So that some people is even more. So they created time for that internet. They're not making business from it, they're in your business, and in your business, and in your business, and in your business, not in their business.
It's escapism.
So that 3 hours, can I take 10 minutes out of it and just breathe? And just learn how to tell my nervous system that everything is okay. Can I learn that? So when you feel, okay, your mechanic comes to tell you something has spoiled, okay, that's fine. You gradually get there. And I'm not saying that you also never get, you get to a point where you never get angry. No, but you know how to come out of it in a very short period of time. I used to count myself out of anger, literally, until I got to a place where I didn't have to count anymore. I just knew that all I needed to do was do this, and I'm good.
You know, and I would jokingly tell people, before you respond to someone,
Count to 10.
Count to 10.
Yes, yes, because there's something that happens between that time. It's almost like you take a breathe or a breath, right? And then all of a sudden things feel a little bit better. Now you can speak. So it's the training of yourself. It's the training that, okay, the car is bad, and then? I remember the last time I saw you, I said to you, my driver I think I said to her that my driver fired me. And she was like, she's never had surgery before. I said, yes. He decided not to come to work. So he has fired me. She said, Anya, this come. I say, yes. Because if I'm angry, does it bring him back? No. And does it change anything? No. So who is it going to affect? Me. I choose not to be affected by him.
You know, Adeola, some people would actually say that choosing, I've heard people say, especially for us, maybe I'll talk particularly about me. I'm a single mom. I have 4 children, 4 mine, 1 adopted, and I still caregive for a lot of people. So when you say self-love, some people will say that you're selfish. That why would you be choosing yourself when life or others' needs are there? And I find out that sometimes when you don't choose yourself, you literally burn out. Yeah. Like me, sometimes I would get into some emotional high that I'm hyperventilating.
And they're all suffering it.
And every other person, the whole thing that I would have done if I took a little bit of time out is lost. So what do we do? That's because everything you usually would teach us is boundaries. That is one of the things to learn is balance. Yes. And it's such a...
I use harmony. I don't use balance.
Especially for women.
Yes, harmony. Yes. So the harmony. Because I'm going to get there, Catherine. In a couple of months, I'm going to be here speaking to you about your harmony.
She's telling me in advance.
Yeah. So, but Adeola, we can laugh. It's good to laugh. So what do we do when people would say this is crossing the line of self-love to selfishness?
Can I ask a question? If you're in an ICU with an oxygen mask, would you be thinking about anybody else? So that's how you are when you are burnt out.
Wow.
That's how you are. You cannot give from an empty cup. So you've got to fill your cup up. You've got to fill yourself up to be able to give the best. Because your question is, do I want to give the best at every point in time? Yes. I want to give the best to my children. Why do I want to bring the worst of me to my family that mean the most to me? But then you want to be the best to the people that you're working with or your clients. Yeah. You dress up, you do everything. You're thinking of innovations all the time. You're thinking of all the great things you can do to make that business run. But the relationships that are the most important, you bring your worst to it. Yeah. Why?
Oh, that one hits hard.
Why? So you come home, your children are talking, I don't want to talk. I don't want to hear. But you couldn't say that to your client. Why didn't you tell your client, I don't want to talk?
Yeah.
Why didn't you tell your boss, don't talk to me, please? But you do that to the people that care the most about you. So you've got to, it's not fair to them too. So if you're good, then most likely they will be good. So if you've got to take out time for yourself, then take out that time. If you think of it as, I'm giving life to myself so that I can give life to other people. Because healed people heal people, but hurt people hurt people.
So as she's talking, I just remember when you're in a plane and they're going through all the safety checks and everything, they tell you that when the airbag comes down, put it on yourself first before helping
your child.
You're no use to anybody who's elderly, a child, if you're suffocating and you can't breathe yourself.
Yes. And that's
that one hits home.
There are certain situations, right? You mentioned empty cup, and I literally saw empty cups and plates in people's houses right now. This economy is not smiling. So in a situation where people are hungry, right? My tummy is rumbling. I'm trying to meditate, but all I can hear is you never talk, And if you, as mothers, you have to think of the children too. So in that situation, you're trying to, take a break, but you can't because the reality is that you need to find something to do. So your mind is literally trying to find an alternative to this situation. How do you handle that?
Okay, Adeola, before you answer that question, we need to take a quick time out. Adeola will answer this question and answer one more question for us, and then, of course, we'll also be getting into something else that I definitely would like her thoughts about. You're watching Jasiri. We'll be right back. You're still watching Jasiri right here on News Central. Our guest, Adeola Kingsley-James, transformational therapist and clinical hypnotherapist, is still with us. That's the one thing I'm really going to try. Is that confessions that Blessings was talking about. People hear everything.
It's not just clinical. I'm a victim. It's realistic.
You asked her a question right before we went for a break. Just a quick reminder for those who...
So basically, I was just saying, you talked about you can't give from an empty cup, and literally people are starving. empty cups and plates, not figurative now, realistically, and people are hungry. How do you channel your mind to give yourself a little break or a breather when all of these things around you and you need to find a solution ASAP?
Well, to be honest, I've been in those kind of situations before where I also didn't have food to eat at some point in my life. So it's not like, oh, it's
been all roses.
Yes, So the fact that I can say what I say right now is not because I had plenty, But one thing that I know, right, which is something that a lot of us, some people might tune off on, is that the thoughts that you think really matter. A lot of people believe that suffering is part of life, and they will keep suffering, right? And this, whether we like it or not, because even religion talks about it, that, the poor shall
always be amongst us.
And I know there's even a blessing for the poor people. So poor people think it's okay to be poor. It's not. We need so many wealthy people in town for things to happen. So back to your question. When you say, what can they do? Do what you need to do now. But understand that it's just something that needs to happen for now. It's not something that needs to happen forever, right? And whilst you are doing that, if you're open to help, I've seen people who've woken up hungry, but said, you know what, today I'm going to meet somebody that is going to bless me and help me. What skill or talent do you have also? Because money equals to the need for what you do, how well you do it, and how difficult it is in replacing you. So it's easy for people to sit down and say, I don't have anything, or I don't have money, I don't have all of that. But the question is, what do you have now that you can do something with? Don't ignore what you can do now. What skill do you have? If you don't have a skill, go and learn a skill. So sit down and say you're hungry. Food is not going to fall from heaven. They say they will bless the works of your hands. So you've got to be doing something. But even in that place of doing something, like we're all here doing something. I'm sure if we had our ways, we'll be in bed sleeping right now and tossing and turning inside air conditioner and enjoying ourselves. But we're here working, right? We can still, amongst us, we can still be complaining that we're hungry. But we had to come here to do this. We had the chance of sitting down at home and doing nothing and complaining about things. So what do we know how to do well that we can go out and at least start with this? Opening ourselves up to new opportunities, speaking to people, telling people this thing that you have, I know how to do it. People don't sell themselves. People are sitting down and waiting for other people, for Godot to come. Godot never came. That's why manna is not going to fall from heaven. We've got to do certain things. So if you're hungry, I understand the economy is whatever it is right now, but you can do something about it, but still do it from a place of peace.
What's up?
Please, I need I need the practical strategies now. I need the practical tips because we have to move on to our next segment. But you need to share some tips and some strategies with us. Somebody's listening now and watching and wants to say, okay, I can't do 2 hours like Adeola, even if it's 2 minutes of silence and stillness, sitting in who I am. But I also need to be very honest. People are very uncomfortable.
Of course.
With themselves.
Because they didn't teach us how to stay by ourselves. We always have, even your decisions that you make now. You ask 20 people, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? What? So it's something, we think everything we're looking for is on the outside. And that's one thing that I'm going to share. Everything that you're looking for, the answers that you're looking for is on the inside. So you've got that work that you don't want to do, sitting down, you've got to do it because prayer is speaking to God. Meditation is God speaking to you. So when you sit down in that calm place, you will hear some idea will drop in your spirit or an answer to something a question that you have been asking, because that's how the mind works naturally. As a man thinketh, so is he. Period.
Wow.
Period.
So let's move on before we bring out the water works.
Thank
Now we are
you
being
so much
we're in a session
for this session, because the session will keep sessioning, guys. If there's anything to take home from this conversation, it is that you come first. You cannot give
what you
do not have. So we're going to take a short break. When we return, it will be time for Hot Topics. Stay with us here on Jasiri.
To our hot topic, we're just going to go very quickly into it. Yesterday, President Bola Tinubu paid a condolence visit to the Akeredolu family. Now, his visit has brought Betty Akeredolu's tribute to her late husband, who was buried this weekend, back into the spotlight. In case you didn't see it, here it is.
The couple were married for 42 years before he passed away this past December. Now, Betty left a very striking tribute for him, and it's quite lengthy, as you can see on the screen. But let me quickly summarize. So in the tribute, she started out expressing her sadness that he's no longer in the world to love her and protect her. She mentioned how people questioned the intertribal union, being that, you know, she's Igbo, and his capacity to love her in spite of.
Now she wrote, not only Oyibo they love, they were infuriated. This is direct quotes now. They were infuriated that a Yoruba man can love his wife who is Igbo. She also mentioned how they differed on religion. He wore his faith on his sleeves and she didn't. And even though he was frustrated, they managed to work it out. Then she ended her tribute with Aketi's tribute to Betty at 60 on July 20th, 2013, gives the reader an insight into the marriage of 42 years we had. We were soulmates. If there is anything like another life, I will marry you and you will still remain darling me. Signed, Adorable Betty, your wife. Now, this has generated. It generated on Monday, but again, with President Tinubu visiting the family yesterday, it has come back. And I think it's because people expect tributes to be something different. Adeola, you're looking at me and you're nodding. People expect tributes to people who have passed away, who are loved ones, to be something a little bit different than what they got. So Adeola, your first thoughts on this?
You know, my heart goes out to her. Yeah. You know, you can't tell anybody how to grieve, right? And the kind of words that can come out of their mouths at the time. So really my heart goes out to her, and I say condolences from my heart. So about, you know, once again, I'm very open to a lot of things because there's no set way in how a condolence letter or a tribute should be, right? This, I think, came from her heart. Yes, even if there's some bitterness that you can pick from it, of how maybe she was treated during the marriage. And of course, every marriage will have its own challenges. I'm not sure that, you know, if it was, I might have written something a bit different, but I totally respect how she wrote it, and maybe she would have her reasons for writing it this way. So I'm not one to...
and I do very much, because every conversation I've had on this, we all grieve differently.
Yeah, we do.
We can't force people to process grief the way we want to process grief. But I just keep thinking, I've seen some interesting tributes in my lifetime, and this one is probably in the top 10, because you also expect a situation where it's focused on the husband. But maybe it's also a situation where she feels like, if I don't state these things now, when else will I be able to put my my own side or my truth on record? So we have some reactions to her tributes, and this one says, she bore her heart out to her husband, like having a conversation with your friend and soulmates. It's not meant to be understood by so many. That's the point. Let's see if we have any more. It simply showed the man endured the relationship throughout his lifetime due to his love for the woman and his immediate family. This was a total disregard, disrespect, and embarrassment to the spirits of the departed. That's harsh. That's harsh. What else do we have in terms of reaction?
Mr. Bayo. Wow.
It's very, you know,
That's all. I think that's all we have.
As far as I'm concerned, just like Adeola would say, if my mother could have written a tribute to my dad, I doubt if it would have been positives. Because maybe if I'm looking at it from my own perspective to what she saw, or if she had the ability to speak, sometimes I agree with the first person, the first tweet. Like she was, like it was like a conversation.
Yeah.
We were not privy to how they lived their lives. You know, because there are two lives that we all live, especially people that are in the public eye. The life that people see is curated, but the life that you have with each other is different. If their marriage endured for 42 years, I doubt if it would have been complete endurance that people would think, oh, everything is negative. They must have come to some compromises, some challenges that, like, everybody has naturally.
I think also people just assume that tributes should be
flowery.
Yeah. Have a
Don't
sense
speak
of
ill of the
dead.
dead.
Don't speak ill of the dead. I think now that is changing. People are
coming out.
Like Tolu says,
Calling out.
there's been interesting tributes to dearly departeds. So you see people who come out, the anger that they've suppressed for so many years. We hear people who are married for 42 years and counting, some even 50-something years they've been together. In that 50-something years, like Lola said, it couldn't have all been rosy.
Yeah.
So they feel that this is the time to tell the world how bitter, even if you're bitter, say it as it be.
No, but again, I don't buy the idea of it's a tribute, right? It's something that this person is supposed to be remembered for. Hers is not even bad. I've seen worse tributes. I saw one where the woman said, "You cheated on me, but you know, along the line, I forgave you." We didn't need to know all of that, right? If that's, you should, I mean, we need to learn
it's
to
like
filter.
closure.
Yeah.
In a way that is not closed.
Because now everybody knows, and this is somebody that you want everybody to remember. At the end of the day, you get your closure, you forgive the person, but people are now seeing the person in a different light, you know? So I feel like we need to learn to filter, you know, some of the things.
Yeah, but just like I said,
words.
sometimes grief is so overwhelming.
No, but do men write this? Is it usually, Tolu, what do you think, with the tributes you've seen so far, and Adeola, is it more the women who are men, right, or the men?
When men happen to write tributes, because a lot of times, sometimes somebody will write it for them. When they write tributes,
It's glowing.
It's not even just glowing. Sometimes it's usually what you see with men's tributes. Not all. I'm not saying all men. What you see sometimes is how the woman served them.
Yeah.
Oh, you bore my children.
You sacrifice
for us.
It becomes almost a tribute to the servitude of the woman to him. That happens. I did not say all, but it happens, and that's what we've seen a lot. And sometimes with women, as she said, it's closure. It's an ability to lay out the love or the life that we had, we shared, whatever it may be.
So women
But
are
even this woman seems to have been in the eye of the storm recently.
For a while, yeah.
For a while, because I know that just prior to the husband's demise, she was talked about, singled out, fingered, and pointed, and some
Implicated.
sorts of, you know, subtle allegations here and there. Maybe because her husband was, you know, ailing, he couldn't even come to her defense. So.
Okay, guys, we have to go. It's a wrap on Jasiri
Bye.
today. Thank you, Adeola, Kingsley-James, for making it on the show today and spicing things up. We are on socials at News Central TV, #Jasiri. Let's know you're watching. We'll see you tomorrow, 10 a.m. I did it! So I did it!